കലുഷിതമായ രാഷ്ട്രീയ സാഹചര്യങ്ങൾക്കിടയിലും ഇന്ത്യയുമായി പതിറ്റാണ്ടുകളുടെ ആത്മബന്ധം കാത്തുസൂക്ഷിക്കുന്ന പശ്ചിമേഷ്യൻ രാജ്യം. പ്രതിരോധ മേഖലയിലടക്കം ഇന്ത്യയുടെ ഈടുറ്റ സുഹൃത്ത് ഇസ്രായേൽ. ദക്ഷിണേന്ത്യയുടെ ചുമതലയുള്ള ഇസ്രായേൽ കോൺസുലേറ്റ് ജനറൽ മിസ് ടാമി ബെൻ-ഹൈം ന്യൂസ് 18നോടൊപ്പം ചേരുകയാണ്. നമസ്കാരം. How is God's own country, Kerala?
Oh, I love Kerala. I've been here not just in this term of being in India, but for the past 20 years, I've been here quite a few times, traveling just with my husband, with my family, coming for work.
We are suffering with this hot weather condition. Is it affected you in any ways?
Yeah, it's affected me living here in India and being affected by it with you and seeing the results of it. And it's also affecting us in Israel. Israel is located in the area that we are in the Middle East. It's the area most prone to feeling changes in weather.
Shall we move to some diplomatic questions?
Happily.
Okay. 7 decades after the independence of Israel, the sovereignty of the nation is still questioned from several grounds. Obviously, it leads to war between Palestine, and the whole world is seeking for an amicable solution also, but it's not happening. Why?
There's one simple answer, but I'll delve more. The simple answer is that we're dealing with Hamas, which is a terrorist organization. It's a terrorist organization funded and backed by a terrorist backing regime of the Iranian regime. That's the short answer. But you're right. The war has been going on for 7 months now, and I'll just remind your audience, Dan, on October 7th, 2023, 3,000 Hamas terrorists crossed the border from Gaza into Israel on a Saturday morning. Families were asleep. It was 6 a.m. 3,000 terrorists armed with knives, with guns, with RPGs, with Kalashnikov automatic weapons. They brought a whole arsenal of weapons with them, and these 3,000 terrorists came into villages, came into people's homes. They brutalized, they terrorized, they burned, they killed people, chopped heads off, did things that I don't want to mention now, but horrible, horrible things to people. Some before they killed them, some after they killed them. And in addition to killing this way, they killed 1,200 people this way. And in addition to this, they kidnapped 252 people back with them into Gaza Strip. And what did they do in the Gaza Strip, this terrorist organization? They're hiding behind the almost 2 million people living in Gaza. They came, they attacked, they killed civilians, they kidnapped civilians, and now they're hiding behind other civilians and are still, by the way, shooting at us and are still continuing this war.
Even if things are happening like so, then why Israel is not getting adequate support from other nations?
We are getting amazing support. We're getting support from the USA, from India, from France, from Germany, from the people, the countries and nations around us. The fact that some people are using this horrible war and this horrible attack to try to delegitimize Israel, to be anti-Zionistic, to be anti-Semitic, to be anti-Jewish is very sad.
Especially the intelligence of countries like Iran and things like that. Is it making any disturbance right now?
Iran is the one funding all the terrorist organizations on the Israeli borders. They're the ones funding and training and giving weapons to and assisting Hamas. They're the ones giving training and funding and assisting the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. They're the ones funding and training the Hezbollah in Lebanon, who are also shooting rockets at us. They are the ones funding and training and telling what to do to the Houthis in Yemen. And obviously Israel is suffering from the Houthis in Yemen as well. But the whole world is suffering due to the disruption of shipping routes, of economic shipping routes. The fact that Iran took a boat and on it were sailors from India, 17 of them from Kerala itself. The fact that these terrorist organization and this terrorist supporting regime is allowing themselves to attack Israel, to keep on attacking Israel and try to get the world involved and try to disrupt the world and disrupt the quiet in the world, this is what we should all be focusing on.
How is the bilateral relation between Israel and India right now?
As good and as strong as always. For the past, since the inception of our relationship in the official diplomatic full ties in 1992, the relationship between our two countries has just been growing and growing all the time. From the number of Israelis have always loved India. But the number of Israeli tourists that are coming keeps growing. The number of tourists from India, and again, I have to mention Kerala and this as well. We have so many tourists, whether coming for religious pilgrimage or not, from Kerala, that are coming to Israel. I'm lucky enough, my consulate is the one approving the visas. So I always see, even in these times, even in these hard times in Israel, that obviously our tourism has suffered, and we see less tourists, let's be honest. There are still people coming from India who don't want to give up, who planned this trip, who wanted to come and are still coming to Israel. And it's beautiful to see, but not just in tourism, in agriculture, in water, in defense, in space. And every topic we can mention, there's been a growth every year, a steady growth, and that's what we want, right? We want more and more all the time. So it's beautiful.
When the recent war started between Israel and Palestine, the official government and the NDA, the political led NDA, supported Israel, and the major opposition Congress stood for the cause of Palestine. And is it affected anyways in the diplomatic relations with India?
First, I'll say our war is not with the Palestinian, not with the people, and not with the Palestinian Authority. Our war is specifically with Hamas, and even more specifically to stop them from shooting at us and to bring the hostages home. And exactly like you said, the Indian government has been very supportive of us. I think Indians in general also understand the need to stand up to terrorism, understand the need to stop terrorism. We've suffered for years from it, and sadly India has as well. And we have to say, we will not allow this to happen. The fact that you shoot us, you kill us, you brutalize us, and then you go and hide behind other people, that's not the way. We cannot allow this to happen. We need to make sure that our people are safe, and I think India understands it well. And again, a whole separate issue, the Palestinian cause, the Palestinian right to self-identification, that's a different issue. And people, if they want to support it, they can support it, they can support the Palestinian people. That's not an issue, but this terrorist organization, Hamas, must be stopped.
The collaboration of two nations in agriculture and technology became quite popular. Is it paved the way for hand-in-hand tie-up with any other field?
Look, these days I think the world is following what Israel and India have been doing for years, right? We understand that we need food security. And now more than ever, like you yourself mentioned, we need to make sure we have enough water to have food security and obviously to drink and live. And now it's all under the umbrella of sustainability, right? And making sure we have a safe world. And this is what we're doing. So the areas, even in these fields, these areas keep developing and keep growing more and more. And our hope is, and we're already seeing it, that it will not just be in India and Israel, but we'll be able to collaborate together and work in Africa and other places in Asia, in the Middle East. And that is the plan, and that is where it's heading.
In the phase of defense also, India is seeking the technological support, hiring weapons and things like that are going on. How is that defense technology things making India and Israel become more close?
Our defense cooperation has been going on for years. And I think India is, if not the biggest, and one of the two biggest partners that Israel has in this field. And we're working a lot now under Make in India, which I think is a very smart thing for the Indian economy and India in general. So we're doing more joint ventures, and the things are being developed and manufactured, and almost all the parts, everything is being done in India. So we have Israel working together with India in India, and I think that's wonderful, and it will probably happen more in the future. We'll develop things together as we're doing now.
Our parliament election process is going on everywhere, several phases, and it was over in Kerala. And what is the expectation of Israel on the upcoming government of India?
One, I love Indian elections. because you work with coalitions, we work with coalitions, we have things happening, it's very dynamic. Whatever government it is, we'll keep working together, we'll keep doing things both for the benefit of the people of Israel, the people of India, and at some point, especially as with, say, sustainability, durability, food security for the world.
When comparing to North India, I think Israel has more significant relation with South India. From Central Travancore, there are a lot of migrants to Israel for seeking skilled and unskilled jobs. And how is the accommodation capacity of Israel?
We're trying to increase the number of people who come to work from India. And by the way, we're getting from all over India. Obviously, I'm promoting South India and I'm happy with it. And traditionally, most of the people who come to work in the healthcare sector are from Kerala. But again, now, as friendly competition within India, other states are learning how to train. Kerala has the #1 literacy rate in India. You're very educated people. So definitely the healthcare service needs these people. But we're getting more and more. We would love to have. One, there's a natural affinity, as I said, between Indians and Israelis. And everybody who's come has been happy working in Israel. The Israelis have been happy with their cooperation. So, we just want it to grow.
The main concern of the people of Kerala is the security thing.
Of course.
How you will give that assurance to the citizens of India?
Yeah. One, you're right, especially this day and age. Obviously, it's a huge concern, and people shouldn't be concerned. But the Israeli government and the Israeli military, the IDF, is doing all they can to protect everybody in Israel. We have safe rooms in apartments and houses and in all the villages. We have safe rooms in shopping malls and in public areas. Because sadly, we know where we live and we know the issues we face, especially from terrorist organizations. So we're doing the utmost we can to protect everybody. And that includes, obviously, people who come to visit us and people who come to visit and live with us and work with us. So the same, people in Israel, we have still over 500,000 people are displaced and can't go back to their homes and can't go back to their jobs. But they're living in cities where it's safe. And the same as, Israeli mothers get up in the morning, get their kids to school. So everybody else, people go to work. So it's the same for everybody who's in Israel at the moment, whether they're Jewish or not, or Israeli or not. So it is safe. We are living, but I can completely understand this concern. It is worrying.
You're okay with the foreign policy of India right now we are following, and you're expecting any amendments in it?
We're hoping not. As I said, our bilateral relationship is strong and growing stronger. And I must mention, before this horrible attack of the terrorists on Israel on October 7th, India was the president of the G20. And Prime Minister Modi, announced just a couple weeks before the attack the link between India, the Middle East, and Europe, saying that by railway, by boats, we'll make India and Israel and the EU closer together. And, this is something we all look forward to. Definitely the G20 countries and everybody that wants more peace, more prosperity for our people.
Israel is giving 100% support to Modi government's foreign policy. Am I right?
We're not giving support to any. We're good friends with India. Prime Minister Modi was the first ever sitting prime minister to hold a visit to Israel in 2017. I was very, very lucky to be part of that visit.
Okay.
In my position in the foreign ministry. I was, back at headquarters. So there are very good things that were being done, but there were good things, being done beforehand also in the Manmohan Singh government. Our relationship is independent of this political issue and that, and I think it's a strong relationship. It's being built for many years now. And as I said, each year it just goes stronger and deeper, and this is what we would like.
Shall we expect the same thing from the Prime Minister of Israel to India?
I hope so. Yes.
Maybe it happens soon, or?
No. Our Prime Minister already did the reciprocal visit in 2018.
Okay.
So yeah, we had in June of 2017 and then in Feb of 2018. I'm sure if you ask any Israeli government or any minister in Israel if they want to come visit India, the answer will be yes. And the Prime Minister, before the current one, also a trip was planned, but it was near Corona time, and then he came down with Corona, the trip was canceled, and you know how life is, especially in Israel, especially when things change daily. But I'm sure that, hopefully once we get out of this war, once we get the hostages back home, one of the first things we will see is a visit of some high-ranking official.
Whether the hostile situation prevailing there anyway become an adverse effect to tourism sector there?
Yeah, right now we're suffering. Our tourism is suffering greatly. Usually, this war, the attack on Israel happened October 7th, and usually at Christmas we get a lot of people coming, Christmas and then Easter, and now the weather is, I was going to say perfect, but it's not because it's hotter than usual, but the weather is very good in Israel now. So our tourism is suffering. Because we have over 500,000 people displaced, some of them are staying in these hotels that are empty because the tourists are not coming. But no, Israel relies on tourism. We're also the heart of the three monotheistic religions, right? But Islam, Christianity, and obviously Judaism, they all have their roots in Jerusalem, in Nazareth, in Bethlehem. So we are trying, and our hope is always that these places will be open and available for anybody who wants to come visit. They are, but I'm sure, if somebody's thinking of a trip, they'll delay it for a bit. But, this is one of the promises of Israel, that these religious areas will be open to anybody. We have a huge Baha'i temple and center in Israel, also in Haifa. We have almost every religion is represented in our country, and the three in Jerusalem. So yeah, we hope, we would like this thing to be over. It surprised us when it happened. We didn't want this, we didn't ask for it, and we want it to be over. And hopefully, back to as normal as we can again.
There was no Christmas and Easter where Christ was born. And it was become a widespread talking point all over the world. And how the people overcome that situation.
Look, we're hoping, what can I say? I'm hoping that by our Jewish holidays, even before, I'm hoping this will be over and gone so much that we will get tourists back by September, and then obviously for Christmas again, I can understand the desire, and people want to go visit. In the old city of Jerusalem, it's the same cobblestones, it's the same street where Jesus Christ walked when he was alive. For people to be afraid now to come visit them because of these terrorists is a horrible thing. That's what Israel keeps saying. We're fighting the war for our security, for our survival. Obviously, we are fighting these terrorists. But it's a war that the whole world needs to fight, because people deserve to go visit the holy places without being scared. People deserve and should not be held hostage by terrorists, but should be in their homes. The world needs to be safe from this, destabilizing factors. The G20, if they want to do the IMEC route from India to Europe, they should be able to do it and not have ships kidnapped by the Iranian regime with Indian sailors on them. We should all be allowed, if we're working for the good, for the benefit of the next generation, for cooperation and peace, we should be allowed to do this and not be stopped by crazy terrorists who very sadly have weapons, and are uncontrollable.
Even if that US, India, France, and every powerful countries are supporting Israel, why we cannot wipe out these terrorist links from Israel and surrounding areas? It's just because of this Iranian thing.
When you have huge money pouring in to these organizations, you have huge money, and this is how they also make money. They make money by smuggling weapons and making weapons and smuggling many other things. So this is what keeps them alive. So of course there's always tension. Secondly, what these terrorists are doing, they're hitting people in Israel, they're hitting civilians in Israel, and then going and hiding behind the Palestinian civilians. So, so we're a good government, good people. We don't want to hurt bystanders. Obviously, we understand that in war, things do happen and people die and people get hurt, but we're trying not to hurt people who are not terrorists. So it's a very, very slow, very precise war that Israel is doing, whereas the terrorists are just bombing whatever. You know that here, last Sunday and Tuesday, just yesterday, the terrorists bombed the crossing from which humanitarian assistance is coming into Gaza. So Israel had to fix the crossing in order to allow humanitarian efforts again. Even on October 7th, when these 3,000 terrorists crossed the border into Israel and, killed and took the hostages, even then, they ruined another crossing that allowed goods into Gaza. They also bombed a water pipe that led water from Israel into Gaza, and then said they're not getting water. So Israel fixed that water pipe in order to allow for water. Israel fixed the border crossing in order to allow humanitarian aid to come in. We're dealing with these terrorists who are hitting civilians and hiding behind civilians.
What you are saying is these terror-linked people are making the Palestinians as a shield.
Exactly. That's even a better word. You're absolutely right. They're using them, yeah? They're hiding behind.
Whether they realized it, whether the Palestinian people realized it, you don't have any envy with them. Just you are against these terror links only.
Exactly. These terrorists, not only are they hiding, they also used the 16 years that they're in power and controlling the Gaza Strip to build underground tunnels and rooms. So not only they're hiding behind the civilians, they're hiding under the civilians, right? They have all these huge fancy rooms with ACs, electricity, food supplies, medical supplies that they stole from the people living in Gaza. They have it all underground. They're hiding under, whether it's a hospital or a kindergarten, or just now the families, even in the refugee area in Rafah, where the people set up tents because they had to leave different places in Gaza. They have tunnels under these tents where they're hiding. So it's a very, very complicated war.
What may be the target? Or what may be the target of Hamas? Rather than killing these people.
Hamas, what Hamas actually wants, they have it written in their charter. They want all the Jews to die, and they want Israel to be destroyed.
Whether they are getting any support rather than Iran. Do you think so?
They're getting support from other countries, yes.
Or
other groups.
What are that? That's why I have specifically asked that question several times.
We can see where, one, they're very good at just stealing international support that comes into Gaza from everybody. Cement came into Gaza, so instead of building homes, they built the tunnels. So they get it from different regimes. Even Israel, at some point in time, assisted Qatari money came to Hamas as well, and others as well. There are many, happily not many, but there are quite a few regimes these days that are supporting terrorism or supporting the disruption of world order, that for different reasons, whether political or not, or for their own gain, want the world not to be at peace. They want to have this disruption, especially in the Middle East, and this is the result that we're seeing.
Okay, I have one last question. Is there any chance for a direct flight facility from India to Israel?
Well, until the war started, and then it started again and off, and then we had the direct Iranian attack with almost 350 missiles at us. So hopefully soon the Air India flight from Delhi to Tel Aviv will resume. It's a great flight. It's relatively quick. And we've been working on, and for different reasons, not because of the war, it stopped for another flight from Bangalore at the moment, because like we mentioned at the beginning, right, so many people from South India, tourists, and from high-tech, and from the agriculture industry and the food industry have so many ties with Israel. And also Israelis love South India, whether it's the backwaters here or even to come to Goa and really, really so many places. So we'll try, and we're praying that this war ends for many reasons, but hopefully also, a while after that, we'd be able to renew the talks about having direct flights from South India as well.
Okay, how is this tourism development? Is there any plans for collaboration between India and Israel on this tourism grounds?
There were many things, especially with Kerala, because of the Jewish presence here for so many years, and the actual Jewish temples, the synagogues. we were working in Ayurveda. You know, people in Israel love Ayurvedic massages and the oils and, you know, and eating correctly and eating by. So, but right now, you know, we're focused on ending this war, bringing the hostages, the 132 hostages that are still in Gaza, held hostage back home. And yeah, you know, we're praying for better days.
Okay, it's an auspicious occasion for us. Thank you for spending your valuable time with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.